Number 5. Vacation. Okay, almost everybody I think has seen this. This is what defines classic. Vacation is the 1983 film starring Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, and pre-Breakfast Club Anthony Michael Hall as the Griswolds, led by their stubborn but devoted father, Clark. Clark, played by Chevy Chase, decides they will drive for their summer trip thousands of miles across the country to go to the most famous American theme park, Wally World. You know what, Wally always did strike me as suspicious. I mean, Wally? I mean, what happened to Bullwinkle? Did he fucking kill him or something? But they find out this trip is going to be a lot more work than they expect as they get into all different kinds of shenanigans.
Roll him up.
Clark soon becomes far too serious about the trip and basically decides he's going to finish this trip if it's the last thing he does.
I'm going to have fun, and you're going to have fun. We're all going to have so much fucking fun we'll need plastic surgery to remove our goddamn smiles. You'll be whistling zippity-doo-dah out of your assholes. I gotta be crazy. I'm on a pilgrimage to see a moose.
This is the first in a series of vacation movies, and probably the best in terms of all-around comedy, but the characters are good in this. Well, most of them. Some of them are bad.
Fuck your mama!
Sorry. But some of the sequels are still fun to watch, but this is the best in the series, I think. Vacation, back when he didn't have or need GPS to go on a trip. Number 4. Beverly Hills Cop. Another Eddie Murphy movie that shot him through the roof. This is about Axel Foley, a tough cop with a quick wit and a quicker mouth from Detroit. This movie is definitely one of Eddie Murphy's best, as he shows the charisma that launched him into superstardom in the 80s, and this was really one of the first movies to give us the blend of action and comedy to a cop movie, at least one of the first I've seen. It's an 80s version of Rush Hour, except there's no Chinese people and no obnoxious voices from a black actor. Never mind. Anyway, this movie is always fun and great to watch for the excitement, action, laughs, and not to mention an awesome theme song. God, I love that. Eddie's career might not be where we want it to be right now, but at least he tried a little more to get back on track with Imagine That. I mean, it was better than some of his other movies. Yeah. Oh, not to mention, there's a 4th Beverly Hills Cop in production. This could be what we've been waiting for from Eddie Murphy for quite a while now. I swear, if this movie happens, I'll walk into the theater with a boombox on my shoulder, repeatedly playing. But truthfully, it would be cool to see this series make a comeback after the not-so-good Beverly Hills Cop 3, and this could really help Eddie Murphy out as long as it's good. But the original will always be what made Eddie Murphy what he was in the 80s, the biggest comedian star. Beverly Hills Cop. If this movie were a cop, it would be a super cop. Number 3. Naked Gun series. Honestly, I have to admit all 3 are in the same spot because they all have that same hilarious wit as the others, and that's why I love these so much. Just like Airplane, these movies are great in the spoof category as they star Leslie Nielsen as Detective Frank Drebin, and these hilarious spoofs of crime films. These use the same kind of comedy in each of the 3, but they keep it fresh with different jokes every time.
Is this some kind of bust?
Very impressive, yes.
The only ongoing joke over the series really being the constant injuries of Nordberg, played by O.J. Simpson, who probably really deserves some of those things in real life. Anyway, these movies are really funny and just a pleasure to watch every time, and Leslie Nielsen surely is a real funny man.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Sorry. These are the kinds of movies I think everyone can enjoy because they have old and new humor with a funny old guy performing it better than most actors could. Leslie Nielsen was born to do spoof comedy, and I can say he's probably the best in these sort of movies because he makes everyone he's in better.
The truth hurts, doesn't it, Habsburg? Oh, sure. Maybe not as much as jumping on a bicycle with a seat missing, but it hurts.
And the only movie series to violate Queen Elizabeth. Number 2. Ghostbusters. This was probably the most popular and profitable comedy series of the 80s, and for the right reason. This was a great movie written by Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd, who star on this alongside Bill Murray and an unappreciated Ernie Hudson. It's the story of paranormal scientists in New York City who decide to start a business of ghost hunting. The Ghostbusters are Peter the Wise Ass.
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Egon, the overly intelligent.
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
All right, that's bad.
Ray, the more impulsive
Tried to
one.
think of the most harmless thing. Something I loved from my childhood. Something that could never, ever possibly destroy us. Mr. Stay Puft.
Nice thinking, Ray.
And Winston, the smooth one with the most common sense.
That's a big Twinkie.
It shows at first their struggle to get business moving, but once things do, it seems they have too much to handle. At some points, they just blast the crap out of stuff as soon as they see it.
What the hell are you doing?
But eventually, they get really good at this. But soon, an evil Samaritan shape-shifting god Gozer comes to rule over New York and takes control of Dana Barrett, played by Sigourney Weaver, and Lewis, played by Rick Moranis, as two of her first minions. From there on, things go crazy, so it's up to the Ghostbusters to save the day for New York. And never has a Marshmallow Man been scarier. This movie holds some of the greatest special effects, and especially for its time, as well as organic, which are still just as good. It was a sequel that wasn't very good, but it was still fun to watch at least. Even though the effects are great in this, that doesn't even make it great. It's the great chemistry and character portrayed through all four Ghostbusters, and that's what sparked the success of the series. Not to mention, a third movie is in production, and I'm looking forward to that too, as long as the four original Ghostbusters are there. Ghostbusters. If you want a great movie that's worth the watch, what are you gonna watch? Now, before I give my number one, I just want to remind you, again, this is all opinion. If you think I left out any movies that deserved recognition, write them below and I'll try to give them an honorable mention in the next list video. So, without further ado, the number one classic comedy of the 1980s is Uncle Buck.
Or, Melanoma Head.
Some of you may not agree, but keep in mind that this is a John Hughes movie, and he was all about the classic 80s movies, and this was one of them. This has got to be my favorite John Candy movie, as he stars in this as Buck Russell.
Or, Melanoma Head.
A screw-up who's reluctantly called by his brother and sister-in-law to take care of their kids during a family emergency. The mother doesn't want Buck to watch the kids because she believes he's nowhere near responsible enough, seeing as how he can barely hold up a job and he's not married or a father himself. But in the end, he's all they have. So, he's called over to help with his two nieces and nephew, played by Macaulay Culkin, in one of his first performances that was pretty good.
Lots of things.
Where's your office?
I don't have one.
How come?
I don't need one.
Where's your wife?
Don't have one.
How come?
It's a long story.
Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
How come?
It's an even longer story.
Things are a mess at first with Buck, but after a while, he seems to be fitting in. Well, at least with his younger niece and nephew, because his 15-year-old niece, Tia, a rebellious teenager, feels she's being neglected and mocked by her parents by having Buck watch her. So she just acts like a bitch for about an hour of the movie. This is the conflict in most of the movie. Even though Buck is pretty nice to Tia, she just finds reasons to hate him. Hell, I'd be a little protective too if my niece was running around with a kid named Bug. Yeah, what a bitch. This movie has that crazy John Candy comedy, while at the same time he shows the nice and funny guy he is.
I'll pass. Fair enough. I like to carry it, you know. You never know when you're gonna need it. Why, I've been known to circumcise a gnat. You're not a gnat, are you, Bug? Wait a minute. Bug? Gnat?
Buck does have a girlfriend, though, back in Chicago, Shanice. And between both of them, there's some hesitation to get married. And the relationship in this movie is affected by his devotion to the kids and shows he's gaining some responsibility. But don't think this movie is all for kids. There's a lot of stuff adults will love too, because this movie is so good it can relate to anyone who watches it. Keep in mind this is a John Hughes film, so there are some dramatic moments in this. But it makes the story much better and the movie even more watchable. There are some classic scenes in this movie, and they really just make the movie. And they really can just keep you laughing. I think if Uncle Buck weren't at the top of my list, John Candy would just have one thing to say. Yeah. Overall, this is a great movie in all areas, and it leaves you with a good feeling, which is why I ranked it number one. Watch Uncle Buck, or I'll have him take out the hatchet on you. So, thanks for watching my list of the top 10 classic comedies of the 80s, and give these movies a look. This is the Cinematologist, and I'll see you later.